Hello, hello, beautiful soul. I know I'm live. I can see the message here. Okay, so I figured the easiest way or the quickest way for me to share my messages with all of you is to go live here. And today I have a very important message to share about an experience that I've been through. Let me just move just a little bit. It's a bit later here where I am now as I'm recording this video, but I feel it was really important to come up live here because I've been thinking about it for a couple of days. Okay, I am Stella. If you are new to me, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and like whatever videos you like on my channel. That would mean the world. You will find interviews with amazing people. You'll find videos that I'm doing on my own. And today I want to talk about something that is related to my shamanic practitioner journey. As many of you know, I mean, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've immersed into a 2 years experience where I dive really deep into shamanic practices and shamanic experiences as well. So there are lots of things that I'm seeing from different perspectives as I'm going through this journey, through this learning journey, because I've been practicing various types of guidance in the past, things like past life regressions, for example. And then as I'm going through my shamanic practitioner journey, I'm learning how to do that in the shamanic style. Now, in our previous session, so we meet once a month and we go through different kinds of themes, subjects. So last time when we met last time, we worked on um, looking at some of those programs that we came here with. So that moment when we've been conceived and our soul decided to come on this beautiful planet, we stepped into an environment to connect with our parents, to connect with the environment that where we've been born. So it is really interesting to look at those programs that came from that moment, when we were not aware of a lot of things, when we came here as a baby and we had no idea what we're stepping into, right? Of course, in many cases, we begin to embrace this personal and spiritual growth journey much later in life. And so, yes, for me, it has been the case as well. I have started to ask myself a lot of questions when I was a child, like asking myself, okay, why am I here? Why can I see on the TV and in the movies that people are traveling? They have like lots of different kinds of experiences. Why can't I go and do those things? Like, why is it so difficult? But it was difficult for many reasons. Because traveling was difficult, in the country where I'm coming from, in Moldova. So it was quite challenging to actually dream and visualize all of these extra things that are outside of that were outside of that space where I was growing up. And yet I was still like asking myself those questions. But it was much later in life when I decided to immerse into this personal growth and spiritual growth journey. So I started learning more about guidance and helping people and helping them understand who they are, to connect with their energy, with their beautiful soul. I would say about 7 years ago, more or less, from when I'm recording this video. But this year, I decided to embrace the shamanic practitioner journey in particular. So last time when we met, we talked about pre-birth. So we've been through an experience where we connected with our soul at that moment of conception, right? And we've identified some of those programs that started playing from that very moment. It was very, very interesting because before this session, okay, about pre-birth and programming, we worked on our DNA. So that was the session before. And I have to say that the DNA session has been a very interesting for me, for sure, because I was able to feel the energy of my ancestors and what they've been through, what kind of challenges they faced. And that was really difficult to see what they were going through. And I'm super grateful to my teacher, Stacy Kist. She knew that, like, as soon as I shared that experience, she knew like what was going on, and then she continued to guide me through that journey. And then after the DNA healing, we had the pre-birth experience where we looked at these programs. So I had five of them. I identified five of them, and I'll explain a little bit more about what these programs are, what exactly I'm referring to. So I found five of these programs, I've identified them, and we then decided what is it that we want to transform that energy into. How do we want to reprogram those old programs, right? And so we chose words that bring higher frequency. So for example, from control, maybe this was one of the programs that I've identified. I chose freedom, because to me this is what resonated with myself the most. So I decided that I want to shift control into freedom, and then we had to find a word in between these two that will begin with self. For example, self exploration. So I've identified five of these programs for myself, but I'm giving you the example about control. So the idea of these 21 days of reprogramming was to find a time of the day and do this exercise at that time every single day for 21 days, and visualize and start with that program that we've identified. Then visualize that energy that so I'm showing here, right? We've connected with that energy that we want to transform this into, and then we use that word in the middle of like self exploration for me in this case. So I would then say I choose to shift control into freedom through self exploration, and then I would do this movement many times. And then when our teacher told us that, so say for example, if you have 5 to 7 programs that you're working through and you're doing this exercise every day, it should take about 40 minutes. And at first I was like, okay, that's quite a while, right? But then as I started doing this, I realized why I needed like this much time, because it's like your brain and your entire being was used to playing those programs for so long, for so many years. So it needs that repetition. It needs that repetition, so that it's almost like you're reprogramming, of course, but also shifting and reconnecting everything in your being uh, in a new way that will help you resonate with that higher frequency. So it was very, very beautiful to then use all of those words like self-awareness, self-exploration, self-growth for me, self-care, self-love into those higher frequencies. But a lot of the times you may see online messages about, okay, this is beautiful, this is all like rainbows and unicorns, and then on the other side you may hear people saying that this is really dark, this is really challenging. Well, what I would say from my perspective is that whenever I step into an experience like this, right, to change something, to grow in some sort of way, I step into it knowing that it will be uncomfortable as you change something, as you want to upgrade, up level, whatever term you want to use, as you want to do these things, it will be uncomfortable at times. Just the only thing that you need to do it repetitively is creating that discomfort. And it's like, oh, I need to be disciplined with that. I really need to be focused, and I need to be able to just continue for all of these days. Why should I do this when I can just do something else, watch some other videos or stuff? So it takes discipline, it takes that level of discomfort to go through everything. through those shifts. And it takes a lot of determination as well, and also knowing why you're doing it. For me, it was because I understand that if I want to continue to change my life, to improve things that are happening in my life, I need to continuously change things from within myself. And I have to be honest with myself. So these programs are like these ones that we worked on in particular are the programs that we stepped with into this world. I worked in like in the coaching industry, guidance, when we work with guides, coaches in our um, this coaching world that we know at the moment, we would identify these kind of things as beliefs or limiting beliefs. But a lot of the times, these beliefs are built during our lifetime. Maybe some of those beliefs were created when you were 20 or 15, maybe you were a teenager, or somebody told you something, and then you've kind of registered that belief and then you continued with it. So yeah, these are those kind of beliefs. And then there are, of course, different kinds of beliefs. I'm just giving you an example. But these programs that we in particular worked on as part of our shamanic experience were the programs that we came with as we were born, right? Because it like they are created by how your mom and dad, they decided to have you, and what kind of moment that has been, how much they wanted you to come into this world, like how did they feel towards you, how did they feel towards each other, what kind of things were going on there between them as well. So all of these things contribute to the creation of some sort of programs. So this is where we tapped into. And even the moment itself, when we went through that journey, was not the most pleasant one at times, because you really have to think into, like, really think about where then those programs revealed themselves throughout your lifetime. So I started with the example of control. And I have to say that at some point within those 21 days, I started having situations where the feeling of control or the desire of control would normally want to step in. So, for example, if I would want for things to happen in a specific way and they were not happening like that, then I would want to have that desire to control the things. So as I was doing the exercise throughout 21 days, I became more aware of these programs. And then there were a few situations, as I said, where this kind of program of control was kind of trying to show up, but I was able to recognize it much faster, much easier. And then something that has happened as well, as I was doing this exercise, I closed my eyes because it's easier for me to do it this way. And I love to kind of close my eyes and go through it, because as I work with my intuition as well, I had like lots of visions and lots of information that were coming to me, pieces of information that were coming to me. So it was very interesting to become aware of these programs like as soon as they wanted to play, and then to give myself a moment and remind myself that, oh, this morning I actually did this exercise, and I worked on shifting control into freedom. So yes, maybe I have taken decisions in this kind of situations from the place of wanting to control. Now, if I was to ask myself the question, what kind of thing would I do if I would take the next step in this situation from the position of freedom? So, this is how I started thinking after doing all of these exercises. And this is very empowering and very freeing, because we are releasing all of that heavy load that we don't want to carry with ourselves anymore. So I'm describing to you my experience, right? But I feel like by bringing this into the awareness of everybody who's watching, it will hopefully help you understand that maybe you've worked on something like this already, or maybe you want to work on some of your programs, and to see how important those things are. for your soul, for your own growth. Now, there was also a moment because when I was a child, I was like playing outdoors somewhere, and I don't know how, I had a moment with a rat, and oh my god, for my entire life I've been like having this phobia of them. It's not like, and it's not like I would have a pet, a rat, but I wanted to at least be able to at least look at them, because even when in cartoons a rat would show up in like a cartoon type style, I could not like continue to watch that cartoon. That's how difficult that has been for me. So this came into the program of powerless, right, for me. And I chose to transform powerless into transformation through self growth. So one day I saw, as I was doing the exercise, I saw the back of a rat, but this little animal was so kind, and I heard him or her, I heard it speaking, and it wasn't looking at me. I just saw the back, and I heard it speaking, saying, "Hey, I know you're afraid of me, but I feel like now you would be able to at least look at me. But I didn't want to show you my face. I wanted to ask you first. And if you tell me that you're ready, I will slowly turn around and I will say hello to you." Honestly, that was such an interesting experience, and it was so healing because I love, nature, and I love everything that's on this planet. So, and animals, to see animals. I don't have pets because I love to travel, and it would be very unfair to, not give them the attention that they need. But I just wanted with this little animal to not like create this kind of reactions in me. So it was very nice to have this vision as I was doing this exercise, because I chose to make it to take it from powerless into transformation. And so that was very beautiful. Then some other things that happened. Um, I Another program, right, that I've seen, it was the unworthy, right? When I was born. And so I started thinking about situations in the past when I was playing this program. And so when I started doing these 21 days, it was right after my activation, live activation that I've done here on YouTube. And if you want to watch it on replay, just look for it, find it, and you'll be able to experience it as well. It was about activating your true desire. So I did the live activation session on YouTube. And after I was done with it, I started these 21 days. And I think on the day 2 or 3, I receive a message from somebody. Oh, okay. So that morning, I was doing the exercise. And as I was tuning into this unworthy, right? I was transforming it into abundance through self awareness. I'm looking here just to remind myself of all of these things because I took notes. And I had some very, very clear visions of literally, you know, seeing those some really beautiful items. I will not say them because then I'll share with you something. So I saw these beautiful items. And then during that day, one of the beautiful souls who watched the video on replay reached out to me and she said, "Oh, I've watched your activation videos, and I've seen this, and that." Honestly, my jaw dropped because she described the exact vision that I've had as I was tapping into the unworthy, transforming it into abundance. It was such a beautiful moment and confirmation that, I am doing the work and I'm seeing the results as well. So I became aware of what I'm doing, what I'm going through. And it was really, really beautiful to see that there is so much abundance. And with all of these things that we're tapping into, everybody can tap into as well. And also talking about unworthy into abundance, transforming it through self awareness. there was also a moment when somebody reached out to me and they said they want to do one of the things that I'm doing, they want to do it themselves in their business. So I was so happy to hear that, because that means the world will experience more of that thing, that I heard from her. I would say that 7 years ago, right? If you would ask me what I was feeling, probably my feelings would have been different. But I am so grateful for the fact that we have access to so many tools and information and support and help to do this work on ourselves, because everything shifts around us when we think differently. So as I tapped into this energy of abundance, then this situation came through, and it was a confirmation for me that yes, I'm doing the work, and I'm actually feeling really, really grateful and happy to hear that somebody wants to do a similar thing that I'm doing. Really grateful. Nikki, so great to see you here. You say you have a phobia of crawling little insects and such. Realizing past life stuff was coming forward. They are very powerful, aren't they? Especially when you look at past lives as well. And I've dealt with crawling insects in this physical life, like in really, when I was a student, I've been through so much, really through a lot, because my parents couldn't afford paying for my whatever, my life experience, right, in the country was I was studying. And I said to myself, you know what, I will just do it. I'll do it myself, right? So I right away I said, I'm going to embrace this journey. I worked very hard. And I remember living in a place where there were lots of those things. I'm sorry, Nikki, that you have such a strong reaction, maybe, or phobia, right? I know what it feels like, because I've had that with rats, as I shared, all my life, literally all my life. And I know that when something like this is happening, I mean, for me, I couldn't even watch a cartoon. How silly is that? Even my daughter was laughing at me, right? And I was like, yeah, but I can't, honestly. But I feel that intentionally I'm doing this kind of work, and it really, really helps. So I know, talking about your phobia, I know like how it's like to be with all of those little things. But as you can see, like how big my phobia of that rats was, the insects part didn't affect me so much. Or seeing some people have phobias of snakes or spiders, I have no problem with that. But for me, it was that. Yes, all good. It's wild, right? That really, really is. So there were lots of things that I took notes of as I went through this exercise. And one thing I wanted to mention here is that I did this for 21 days. And I remember in the past, when I was learning how to do live videos and some other things, like to create written posts on social media, a lot of the times I would start with 21 days of something like a challenge, right? Or an experience. Why? Because then our brain needs at least 21 days. Statistics show that, right? Ideally 90 days from what I know, but our brain needs at least like 21 days to get used to that thing that we want to learn or practice. And so it's really, really good if we, like, when we want to learn a new skill or we want to practice something, if you want to write posts on social media or become better at live videos or whatever it is that you want to learn, you can try this and do it daily for, say, at least 21 days, and then see what kind of results you have. And also take notes of what you're experiencing every day, because what I find is that as you're doing that thing, maybe it's an exercise, maybe it's going live, maybe it's creating something new, whatever it is that you do for a number of days, then after you do that thing, like I was doing the exercise in the morning, you will notice a lot of situations that will give you the confirmation for what you're learning, what you're experiencing, what is good for you, what kind of transformations are happening. So as you are going to do that, you will be able to see the results and almost like monitor the results that you'll be experiencing. And that is really, really beautiful. So, what from here? We will have our next session in like a week from when I'm recording this video. I will continue my shamanic practitioner course, and actually this video is in the my shamanic diary playlist, and I will keep adding videos. But I feel like it's easier for me, maybe next time I'll do it in a different setup because I'm doing it at nighttime. But I find that it's much better for me to do it in like a live format, because I just love to allow for the information to flow in whatever way it wants to flow. I just want to quickly look through everything to see if there is any kind of aha or like key moments that I wanted to share with you. Oh yes, I think on the day 20, I'm having here day 20, I just had this guidance to listen to a song, and it's from the theme from the Last Kingdom series. I don't know if you've watched this on Netflix, or was it on Prime? I don't even remember if it was on Prime or Netflix. But there is this girl who is the voice for the sound theme. Her name is Eivor. Ivor. That's her name. Oh my god. And she has this song, and I'm actually going to uh, type it here. Eivor. Yeah, and the O is with like it's written a little bit with like a line, but yeah, her voice is absolutely incredible. So that's just one example of the songs that came to me. But this song of hers, from the main theme in Last Kingdom, the Last Kingdom, was like a confirmation for me that this dance between the old programs towards this new frequency that I'm shifting them into, this song confirmed to me that I have done the work. Really, I have been through it all. And I can see now, I can immediately, like, as soon as I see a situation where an old program would want to play, I would recognize it immediately. And for me, it's like now I'm I'm immediately doing it in my own heart, in my mind's eye, because if I feel like there is a situation where I want to control things and it's best to take a decision from freedom perspective, I immediately ask myself, yes, I have the tendency to control, but what would I do if I would act from the position of freedom? And that shifts everything, absolutely everything. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for joining me live, Nikki, and everybody who watched live but maybe couldn't say hello. Drop your questions, aha moments, if you've done any kind of reprogramming like this. I know I've done it in, as I said, in coaching, changing the beliefs, but this was different. It was the programs that came when we were born, and that's it. Yeah, this was different thing, different experience. So let me know in the comments if you've done anything similar like this, if you've worked through your beliefs, what kind of, yes, that's what I chose, to shift it from control into freedom. And everybody chose their own words, like the higher frequency word, everybody choose their own. But that's what I chose to transform it into. So the judgment, for example, for me, I chose to transform it into connection through self-love, because judgment is something that kept coming up for me again many times in my life, especially like when I was being too hard on myself. So I chose to shift judgment into connection with myself and with others and with the world through self-love. And oh, as I did this exercise and I tapped into this particular program, I introduced new routine for self-care, for self-love, for this one, judgment into through self-love into connection. Then there was worthless through self-care into prosperity, powerless through self-growth into transformation, control through self-exploration into freedom, unworthy through self-awareness into abundance. So, yes, it was very interesting to go into all of them. So, the high frequency words were for me abundance, freedom, transformation, prosperity, and connection. And the programs were unworthy, control, powerless, worthless, judgment. So, that's what I kind of, it's like I took my friends with me when I was born and I stepped with them into the world, right? So, yeah, and they've been playing in so many situations. Now I can see, it's like now I can have that bird eye view and see all the situations from my childhood to now when those things were playing up. And I'm grateful I've done this work. I'm super grateful I've done it. And I went through those uncomfortable moments because, yes, transformation requires work, and work means a lot of discomfort as well. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here with me. And I'll see you again next time. Take care. Bye bye.